Hello, this is Todd Luck, and this is a review of the Tarkas action figure from Tarzan the Epic Adventures. This was a line from the 90s by Trendmasters, and there was a Tarzan the Epic Adventures TV show, but Tarkas never appeared on it. The toy line was basically just a way to have Burroughs figures from his novels on Tarzan, Mars, and also At the Earth's Core. And it comes in this rather nice packaging, and it has a little window box for its action feature if you wanted to do that. It comes with weapons. It comes with a computer disc. We'll be taking a look at it a little later. And then you can see on the side it's got, you know, all the stuff you can do with it and all the stuff it comes with. Like I said, very nice. I love this logo for Tarzan the Epic Adventures. And then we have a bit of story at the top and some small text. And we have other figures. Now, these are not all on the same scale. They did a lot of different figures on a lot of different scales. And we'll be taking a look at some of those, as well as some of the little play sets they did in Mighty Max style. And this figure is worth 3 Tarzan points, I just want to point out. So, you know, we all need more Tarzan points in our life. So, glad I got those. I'm sure I can use them, 20 or 30 years later. So why don't we go ahead and open this up? So there's some tape here on the side. I'm just going to go ahead and slice open. And so my hope here, now this is not made for collector, but my hope is that this is still collector friendly packaging. And it does look like it is. So it's going to actually open right at the top. Boom. Fantastic. So I am going to go ahead and just take this out. So when you get him out, he's going to be in this packaging. And unfortunately, this is not collector friendly. This is glued to the card. So I'm going to have to use my old school opening skills to kind of remove this from the card, and most likely I will trash it. So I'm actually going to, well, here we go. Hopefully this won't be too loud. Right. Old school opening skills initiate. All right, well, there we go. For better or worse. Cool. There we go. All right. Remove Mr. Tarkas. Well, we're going to remove the packaging. And here's Mr. Tarkas out of his packaging. So let's take a look at the figure. You can see it's got a lot of nice detail on it. Both the head, which does turn, and also the body itself. You can see, you know, kind of the muscles and the skin and all that good stuff. The armor on it is either painted a rather nice gold and also has some nice detailing, or it's actually die cast gold, also with some nice detail. And that's basically, the die cast is on his arms and on his legs. And again, just very nice detail. This is very in keeping with the novels. This is what I expect a Thark to look like. Though obviously there are many interpretations one can have. But this is definitely a very valid interpretation in my opinion. The arms move. They don't have anything other than shoulder joints to move. But, you know, this is a 90s figure made for children. I think that is more than enough. The legs do move. They can do the classic, you know, kind of Masters of the Universe squatting positions and sitting positions, which is pretty cool. So that's the figure. Now I will note that his feet are sculpted a little oddly. So we're going to see if we can get him to stand. He's very much made to be, you know, standing in one particular position because his feet are molded so strangely. But I got to say, I love these arms. I mean, all the different poses you can get with these arms is just fantastic. My gosh, this I gotta tell you guys, this is one of the coolest figures I've gotten recently. Just the sheer uniqueness of having the four arms. Okay. Anyway, so he also comes with a sword, and this is also die cast. So this is, oh my gosh, this is a really nice die cast sword. And he also comes with this. I guess you would call this more of a dagger. It's a shorter sword. Yeah, and that's usually what Martians were described as having. They would have a long sword and a short sword. And he has a cape as well. So the cape is just going to go on his back. There is a hole on his back. Oh, by the way, well, let me put his cape on first. So you're just going to press the peg from the cape into the hole. Oh, well, see, I just spoiled what I was about to do next. So his cape is on. So he looks pretty darn cool with the cape on. And let me get my fingers out of the way. But what you were hearing was the battle cry of Tarkas. So you press this inconspicuous looking jewel in the middle. And I'm just going to do that one more time, real up close. Yes, that is the battle cry of Tarkas. And most of these figures I found don't have the batteries still working, but for some reason this one still has power in it. You can remove the battery, and wow, that fits well. Okay. It can get kind of loose in the hand, the sword and the weapons. Let's see how this one does. Oh, that's super loose. But it can hold. Yeah, it can hold them. It's just, as you can see, it's just kind of loose in the hand. You can kind of maneuver it around to kind of get it right. But I've just found that on the Tarzan the Epic Adventure line that it can be a little loose as far as holding the weapons. Let's try them down here. Let's try them on. Yeah, same situation. So that is an issue, but like I said, you can get it to look however you want. And he only comes with two, but other figures obviously have other weapons. So if you want to deck him out with like weapons for each of his hands, you can certainly do that. So one thing to note is I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up. I think it is. There is some tape on his die cast parts, and these are removable. So I'm going to try taking off the tape and seeing if they'll stay on or if there's some kind of factory defect. Wish me luck here. And so what I thought was tape turned out to be plastic. It was a little bit of a challenge to remove, but it was removable. You might want to keep it on if you're going to give this to a child to play with, because it will help keep them on if there's going to be some kind of vigorous movement or anything with this figure. But otherwise, they're going to stay on very well. The gauntlets just, they stay on unless you're like touching them or moving them or he falls or something. And as you can see, he is standing on his own. I don't know how stable the position is, but he's been holding it for a few minutes here, and he is holding the weapons pretty well. You can just kind of, move them in his hands. But yeah, I'm really, really pleased. He is a fantastic looking figure, especially for something made in the 90s, back before, anyone was even thinking about like action figure collectibles. So this is amazing to me. So let me talk about the one detractor here. He's not made in proportions to what a Thark should be. Tharks are very, very tall. He's made just slightly taller than Tarzan here, who is part of this same line. So that's kind of a bummer, but at the same time, it is a Thark, and it's probably unrealistic to expect him to be, twice as tall as a regular 5-inch figure. So what exactly is the scale of this figure? He measures about 6 inches, and he seems to be made on kind of an old school type of about 5 or 5.5 inch scale that you would find with older figures like Ecliptor. On your left here is a Power Ranger figure, and then Webstore right there is Masters of the Universe. So he's about their height. So as you can see, he's made on a smaller scale than your modern collectible figures. I usually hear these described as being on a 7-inch scale. So his height is more in keeping with, say, modern day Power Ranger figures. You have one from the right by Bandai of America, which is just a regular figure. The figure arts is probably a little bit bigger in scale, but it's about the same height as Tarkas here. If you actually wanted something that was in proportion to how Tarkas is normally portrayed, you need to go to the 3 3/4 inch scale, which kind of looks cool. Now, there are some figures that look like they're around the 4-inch scale in this line, and I'll be reviewing those a little later, and we'll see, how they compare to this particular Tarkas. And so overall, I really recommend this figure. It is good for collectors. I'm going to really like having this guy on my shelf. And if you have children who've seen John Carter or have read the novels, this is a fantastic figure to get them. It may be the only figure of Tarkas. I have not been able to find any others, even though Princess of Mars and the other Barsoom novels were written 100 years ago. But I'm glad if we got one figure of this guy, it's a good one. And so that's it. Oh, wait, hold on. There's a computer disc there I haven't looked at. So that's what I'm going to do next video, because I actually ended up getting a computer disc reader just to see if I could get that to work and to see what was on it. So this is Todd from the future, who already tried this disc and found that it was not compatible on his laptop. I'm going to keep trying, and if I do at some point figure out how to make this disc work, I will do a video on it and I will show you guys. But until then, we're just going to keep going with the Tarzan the Epic Adventure toy reviews. I've got plenty more figures and toys from this line to show you guys, so like and subscribe for more videos. And until next time, remember, you're ugly, but you're also beautiful. So says Tarkas.